Hey guys, I've had some people ask me, is Plunder Patrol playable in Genesis? In this video, we're going to dive into that and see how we would build it if we wanted to play it. First of all, Plunder Patrol loses Blackbeard and Jord in Genesis format. These are huge blows to the deck because what the deck has been built to try to do for the last few years is summon out Jord, give your opponent an attribute, and then summon Blackbeard and take advantage of that and draw and all that stuff, build a board essentially, and all of that is taken away. So if you've been playing Plunder in the last few years, your game plan is just gone, and you have to figure out how to play this deck in Genesis format where there's no links and pendulums. Well, we're gonna look at the rest of the card pool. We're gonna see what we can scrounge together to make a Plunder deck that's playable, and then we're gonna go ahead and put a few options together because there are a few different engines that you can play alongside Plunder to have an actual playable deck. Alright, let's look at what is remaining in the Plunder archetype. We still have all of our main deck guys. We have Black Eyes, Bluebeard, Golden Hair, Redbeard, and Whitebeard. But now, if we look at the whole Plunder strategy as a whole, it relies on tagging out your guys into your extra deck guys based on your opponent's attributes. Well, we're down to 3 attributes now. We have Bran as the fire, Liss as the light, and Morik as the dark. And in addition to that, we basically have no way to do that turn 1 with our monsters only, because Whitebeard and Redbeard, although they can tag out just like Blackbeard could, can only do that on your opponent's turn. So essentially, if you want to tag out during your own turn, or like turn 1 or whatever, turn 0, you have to use Emblem, because Emblem can use your own attributes and it can just activate as ignition effect, and it doesn't matter whose turn it is. So Emblem is going to be a feature card in these lists when we go over it. We're also, because we're kind of limited on what we can do, we're also going to look at the rest of the Plunder Patrol archetype cards to see, hey, maybe there is some stuff that's not good in advanced format, but it could be playable in the in Genesis format. So let's start off with Plunder Patrol Shipping. This is the fusion spell. Essentially, it fuses one fiend monster from your extra deck using hand or field as fusion material. And then you can banish this card, target a plunder you control, and equip any Plunder Patrol card to that target. Okay, so an important thing to note is that you can equip Emblem to it, and that means you can kind of search Emblem by basically, having it more frequently on turn 0. For example, if you go Shipyard, discard Shipping, and then Shipping, banish, equip the Emblem, you can actually tag out on turn 0. However, you also have to set up attributes in your own grave. You have to have some way to set up a dark or a light or a fire to actually tag out turn 0. And that's why this is kind of a suspicious strategy and not really that reliable with just the Plunder archetype by itself. So we're going to have to pair it with something to have it playable. Next, we're going to look at the trap cards. We all know Booty. This is the once per turn call the Haunted, change our opponent's attribute. And this is going to be important because now we're down to only 3 attributes. We no longer have any earth or water things to summon by tagging out, because Blackbeard and Jord are gone. And also, we've always had the wind problem, so there's a decent chance that your opponent is playing an attribute that you can't tag out into. So Booty is going to be kind of required if we're going to have any kind of chance at playing our strategy. Now we can move on to Party. We haven't read this card in the channel before, so I'm going to go ahead and read it now. It says, if you control a Plunder monster, draw cards equal to the number of equipped cards you control plus 1, then shuffle cards from your hand into the deck equal to the number of equipped cards you control. So think of this as like Phantasme, but instead of Link monsters on the board, draw that many plus 1 and put 1 back. This one is equipped cards you control, and that includes Plunder monsters equipped to your other plunder monsters, right? And then it says you can only use that once per turn. If you special summon a Plunder monster from the extra deck while this card is in your graveyard, you can equip this card to that monster as an equipped card. With this effect, the equipped monster gains 500 attack. Okay, so if you summon out our Bran or Liss or Morik, this guy's in your grave, you can equip it to him, and it'll make him a quick effect, which is relevant because not all the time are we going to be able to have our extra deck monsters as quick effects anymore. We're used to summoning those with Blackbeard, but if we have to hard make, if we have to synchro 8 into a Bran, it's not a quick effect by default unless we use Redbeard as material, and Redbeard can equip itself. And then with Mowerk, it's never a quick effect by default. You have to find a way to equip this thing somehow. If you hard make it, if you overlay 2 rank 4s into Mowerk, right? So yeah, that's going to be an issue, and that's why Party might be relevant. We're going to think about it. And then we have one more card, Pride of the Plunder Patrol. This one says if your Plunder monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, draw 1 card. That's kind of nice, because our Bran is going to be our focus of our deck, and that's going to have a big attack. And then it says if you control a Plunder monster, you can send this face-up card from your field to the grave, then activate one of these effects. Your opponent draws 1 card, then you look at their hand and send 1 monster to the graveyard. So what this essentially is doing is your opponent gets to draw a card, and then you get rid of an attribute, one that you can tag out into if they're not like playing into your Plunder guys. And then it says you can also look at your opponent's extra deck and send 1 monster from there to the graveyard. So it's the same way you send a fire or a light or a dark from their extra deck to the grave. Not only does it get rid of their extra deck card, but also it gives you an attribute to tag out into. So this one is not so good. I think Party is better solely for the graveyard equip effect. Like if you want to hard make up Mowerk and then equip this guy, it's a play. It's a legit play. Pride, not that great, but I did want to read over it just in case. All right, now let's talk about what stuff we can pair with Plunder, and these are some things that have points, Genesis points associated with them, so we're going to talk about it. First, we're going to go through the adventure cards. So adventure cards, we have 5 points each for Rite of Aramazir, 5 points each for Water Enchantress. Everyone knows adventure cards pair with Plunder because the drawback of adventure cards is that you can't use effects of normal summon monsters. There are no effects of normal summon Plunder monsters that you can use, so there's no conflict at all. So adventure pairs really nicely. However, Griffin is 20 points, so yeah, that's going to be a big chunk. That's going to be 1/5 of our point total allowed, so we do have to keep that in mind when building this deck. But there is an alternative to Griffin Rider that's Illegal Knight. So this is a Dark Fiend monster, which is important because it's dark attribute. And instead of summoning it to your board, you give it to your opponent. So your opponent gets a dark monster, and then you also bounce stuff off of their field. So let's go ahead and actually just read over it. During the main phase, if you control no monsters or control an adventure token, so just like Griffin Rider, quick fact, you can special this card from your hand. And then it says if you control an adventure token, you can target up to 2 cards your opponent controls, give control of this card to your opponent, and if you do, return that card or cards to the hand. Okay, so you're basically gonna bounce back whatever extra deck stuff they have. It'll go back to their extra deck. They're gonna get the Illegal Knight, but they're gonna have a dark attribute on their board. Only 2,000 attack, so you have a chance to run it over anyway. And something nice is if you pair this card with Kaijus, you can Kaiju your opponent, then Illegal Knight your opponent, and get the Kaiju back to your hand. So that's a pretty sweet combo there if we choose to play both of these archetypes. So we see the Kaijus below. I'll talk about them in a second. Yeah, and then Fateful Adventure and Drinkback are free. So, yeah, Adventure is going to cost anywhere between 25 points because you're probably going to want to play 5 copies of Enchantress plus Right. That's what I usually like to play. Up to 45 points if you want to play the Griffin Rider. So we're going to talk about whether we want to play that or not. The other option to play is going to be Kaijus. So Interrupted Kaiju Slumber is actually costing 33 points, which is kind of tough because Dark Hole, for example, costs 0 points. But yeah, Interrupted Kaiju Slumber has the advantage of, okay, yeah, it gives you a monster and it gives your opponent a monster, but also it gives your opponent an attribute, which we know is important. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting tech card to play. If we play adventure cards, we can only play up to 2 of these. Wait, 66, maximum 25 adventure points. So yeah, we can afford that, but it basically wipes out all of our point totals. Or we can just not play adventure. We can play 3 Kaiju Slumber, but I really don't think that's a good use of points because Kaiju Slumber is not always that good, and it forces you all of your points into going second card specifically. And then if we look at the Kaijus, none of them cost anything, but of course, because we only have 3 attributes to summon, which are light, fire, and dark, we would only ever play the dark, the light, or the fire one, or the other light one if we wanted to, Jizukuru. So we can basically get rid of Gameciel, we can get rid of Godarla, and we can get rid of Kumungus. Arguably, you can keep Gameciel in, maybe even if you play the Kaiju Slumber to give your opponent the smallest attack one. Yeah, and then even if you hard draw Gamma Seal, you're still only giving your opponent the smallest attack one. So Gamma Seal does have some merit, but I think that the attributes are going to be the most important thing. So we're going to focus on those from here on out. What are the attacks of these guys? They're both 33. Okay, interesting. All right, moving on to the extra deck cards. There's only a couple relevant hits or cards that you would normally play in Plunder Patrol. So we have Adamancer Pager Risen Dragite. This used to be like our go-to level 8 synchro, like on top of our plunder board if we could make one, because it's just a spell trap negate, which is kind of nice, but it does cost 20 points, so we'll have to debate on adding that. And then I just wanted to put in for information is that Bahamut Shark Toad, this is also a playable combo in Plunder Patrol, but it does cost all of your points and you can't play both of them together. So yeah, 81 plus 20, you can't play Toad by itself, and you can't play if you play Bahamut, you can't play Toad, so there's nothing really worth making. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and ignore Bahamut Shark and Toad for our plunder build. Okay, from here we're gonna go back to our plunder skeleton here. We're gonna put a couple decks together, 1 or 2 decks, and then there's also some other tech cards that I want to talk about that they don't cost any points, so we're just gonna add them in as they come up, because I do have a couple Plunder Patrol Genesis ideas that I want to try out. I want to put these decks together. So we might put together 1 or 2 or 3 deck lists today. We'll see. But first we're going to go for an adventure build. And I guess before we even get to that, I want to cut down the plunder cards into what I think is going to be the best ratios here. So first of all, right off the bat, I'm going to get rid of Pride. I think that card is not good. Party, I'm honestly considering keeping, but we're going to see what our deck space looks like. So I'm going to move it to the side deck for... Whoops, I guess we're not moving it there. We're going to move it to the side deck for now, and if we want to bring it back in later, I still have it there. And then Shipping, I do think is a relevant card, but I don't know if I want to play 2 of it, so I'm going to put down here. I just want to have more plunder ammo, more engine, more ways to get to emblem as well, so I do think it's valuable, plus hard making the list is going to be okay. It's going to be fine. So yeah, I'm not against playing this card. Maybe we'll even play 2. Maybe we'll play 2. Talking about Black Eyes and Bluebeard, I still think they're both 3-ofs. They're the best extenders in the deck. Like, they're kind of free. Black Eyes gets you more advantage as well. And you do need level 4 extenders just to hard make your brand. You need to hard make your Mowork. And if we're playing the fusion spell, gotta hard make the list too, and that's all kind of sus. So we're gonna max out on these guys. Golden Hair is an interesting take, because in the advanced format Plunder Patrol, Golden Hair is good. It's very good, because you need to make the Jord. Making Jord is essential to all your combos. Having the extender is essential to all your combos, getting into Blackbeard. But when we're only making like 1 plunder monster a turn, like Golden Hair loses a lot of value, and I'm not sure I want to play 3 of it. So I'm going to put Golden Hair down to 2. The only thing it does have going for it is that it's a tuner, and making Bran is going to be an important part of our strategy. So maybe we do leave it up at 3, and just for more names. Redbeard and Whitebeard. Okay, these are new ways to tag into stuff on our opponent's turn. We no longer have Blackbeard, so I feel like we also have to max out on these. Whitebeard 100%, like it's the best card in the deck, but Redbeard I really like as well, because if we're hard making our guys, I've said this before, but if we're hard making our guys, we have to equip them to make them quick effects, and we don't have the Blackbeard default equip anymore. So having more Redbeards is going to be pretty good, and it is going to be kind of required to get enough stuff in our enough materials where we can actually equip every time that we make an extra deck monster. So for that reason, I'm gonna keep Redbeard at 3 for now, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so from here, let's talk about the adventure stuff. I think adventure is going to be the best way to go, because it's got a lot of potential. You can pair it with kaijus even without kaiju slumber. So we're going to go ahead and check out our adventure token things. We're going to play double Rite of Aramazir and triple Water Enchantress. I always like this combo the best, because Enchantress you can at least special summon if you already have Rite, but if you have 2 Rites, it's kind of useless. Plus, you can take advantage of the discard cost of Enchantress and then get value off of it. I think Enchantress is just a better card. We're going to play the 1 Illegal Knight here, and I'm not sure if I want to play Griffin Rider. We're going to keep it out for now. We're just going to throw it in the side deck and see. But until then, we're gonna check this out, because I have a feeling that we might want to go for a going second build, because we can't really do anything going first. Like, what are we going to do? Normal summon Whitebeard pass? Like, it's going to be kind of miserable. And if we don't get into adventure cards, we're kind of cooked. So I want the extra 6th card. I want to have like an illegal knight play, like have this be kind of the focus of our stuff. And I really do think that we can have a decent strategy if we focus on just bouncing our opponent's stuff. And I don't think I'm going to play Griffin Rider in the main deck, or probably in the side either, but we're going to see. Now let's go ahead. We have all of our adventure cards, yes. And now we are going to look at the Kaiju cards. So we are at 45 points, but really it's just 25 because this Griffin Rider is sitting here. I'll get rid of that for now. Now let's take a look at our Kaiju. So if we choose to play double Kaiju Slumber, which is very valid, I think, and it might be like a solid choice for going second, I'm going to try that out. We're going to play double Kaiju Slumber, and then we're going to play one each of our attributes. So we have Fire, we have Light, we have Dark, and then we have, that's it. Those are our 3 attributes. And I do want to play a 4th name just in case we draw too many, and I think Dark is going to be our best attribute. Just because we need to get into Mowork, we need to be able to out the Kaiju that we give our opponent if we don't draw anything else. So we're going to go ahead and play the double Radiant. And now for the rest of our non-engine, let's just try out Dark Hole for now. Oh, Dark Hole does have points. Oh, I thought it was free. But okay, that's good. I'm glad it does have points. It should have points. We're going to try double Dark Hole. So we're going to go for 4 board wipe cards. And now that I'm looking at this, I think we have a little bit too much Plunder engine. So I do want to cut down. We're going to cut down on shipping. And then I'm thinking maybe we play some Cosmic Cyclones here. Cosmic's definitely in the side deck. It's in everyone's side deck. So let's go ahead and chuck those down here. Cosmic's down there. Let's get rid of Party and that shipping in the side. And then maybe we just play the 3rd Dark Hole here. And I'm thinking this might be a solid strategy because we have like Bran as our go-to card. So we're going to have Spell Trap removal in engine. Not a lot of decks have that, but getting rid of monsters is honestly going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. So I guess we do have Draco back, but yeah, we're gonna go for the 5-card board wipe strategy and see how that goes for now. Especially as a pure going second deck, like a blind second deck. Let's look at our extra deck for a little bit now here. We're going to go ahead and try to add, we're going to need some level 8 synchros. So, and then we also have level 11 synchros if we go for like a Legal Knight plus a tuner. So I wonder what costs points in that realm. I'm pretty sure Psychic and Punisher does cost you some points. Let's go ahead and search here. Yeah, Psychic and Punisher is a strong card in Genesis, so that's a 20-pointer. But we can consider like Jiraishin here. Let's see. Star Eater, throwback, Blast from the Past. Can be negated. When it's summoned, card's effect cannot be activated. This effect is unaffected by card to the end of the damage step. That's kind of cool too. We can consider Star Eater, honestly. We'll see if that comes up. Now let's look at level 8 synchros that we can play. I know there's like Groza, that one weird card that came out for like Fiends. Let's see here. I did not really pre-plan what I want to be playing in this extra deck too hard. But basically it's like build your own extra deck. I think Crimson Blader is a really cool choice. If you can resolve this card and your opponent is playing a deck that only summons big monsters, you can just quickly lock them out of stuff, and I do think that's pretty cool. So we're gonna throw in Crimson Blader here for just like kind of interesting wins. Draco Berserker, the Tenyi is a really solid level 8 that we can just set up and force our opponent to deal with. Here's that other card, Groza, Tyrant of Thunder. It requires Fiend type non-tuners, and it says during your opponent's main phase, target 1 effect monster in the field, discard 1 monster, and if you do, negate the effect. It's okay. If a Fiend monster is sent from the hand to the grave, you can apply one of these effects. This card cannot be destroyed by battle, by card effects, or it can be targeted. It's kind of crap, to be honest. So we're not going to really deal with that. Let's see. Hot Red is possible. Let's see what else we have here that's relevant. Wow, Omega is 100 points. Hey, we could play Jord. Just kidding. No Pendulum monsters. Oh man, why is that card a pendulum? That kind of stinks. Let's see. Destroy other guys. Yeah, we could play a Scarlight. That's not bad. And then honestly, we could play like a Scrap Dragon. Like Scrap Dragon just to randomly... Oh, no, White Aura Whale. I forgot White Aura Whale. So, yeah, we're going to play these cards here in our extra deck. If you think of something else you want to play instead, like, let it rip. But, yeah, we have some level 11 options. Another way to make level 11 is, like, if you Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, summon Radiant to your field, and then normal summon a Tuner. You can get into that kind of stuff, but then your opponent has a big boy. I guess you can like make Star Eater or something. Yeah, I don't know. We got options. It's kind of cool. And then side deck. I don't really know what I want to play in the side deck here. We can go for stuff like, yeah, I don't know what people are playing in the side right now. There's no. Oh, we can play like DD Crow is going to be kind of nice. Whoops. We want those in the side, and these are also good because they fuel our emblem. Same with like Skullmeister. So we do have these cards going on, which is kind of cool. Even cards like Twin Twister are relevant because we can discard for value, which is uncommon. But yeah, this is going to be like one of the decks that I want to build for a kind of pure going second kind of board breaker build. Yeah, we're going to save this one as Plunder second Genesis. All right, now I want to build one more deck here. And this one is kind of a different strategy because when I made my most recent Plunder advanced format deck, I wanted to play this card, Yugioh. Okay, so Yugioh essentially searches a fusion spell for fiends, like a miracle fusion, so it can banish fiends from your grave, or shuffle them back into your deck rather. And that's Mutiny in the Sky. So we can also, these are free cards as well, so we can play stuff like this. I'm gonna cut down on the Plunder names once again, same as the last build. We can play stuff like this, and then I want to play stuff like Radiant. How do you spell that? The Kaiju. Oh, it is Radiant. Okay, we can play stuff like Radiant. We can play stuff like Skullmeister. We really want to just fuel our graveyard with fiend monsters, and then hopefully be able to fuse away. The thing is, like, Yugioh in advanced is kind of nice because you can special summon it and then just link it off for Blackbeard. But in this version, you basically have to discard it with your Shipyard, with your Bluebeard, or your Golden Hair. So I don't want to play 3. It's probably a brick. Maybe just play 3 Mutiny in the Sky, honestly, or like 1 and 1. I don't know what the ratio, the best ratio is. Maybe like 2 and 1 to not overload on this kind of thing. And then we can even play I don't know. We could play Adventure Package to get Illegal Knight in rotation more frequently, because that's another fiend that we can shuffle back in. And I actually kind of like that because, you know, once Illegal Knight is spent and in your graveyard, you can't use it anymore unless you shuffle it back somehow. I think that's actually a decent synergy. So let's go ahead and put our adventure cards in here. Same as last build, except this one also you don't really want to go first. This is still a going second build, so let's go ahead and still put in our adventure cards. I might as well have just started from where I was in the last build, it turns out. But we're gonna play 3, 3, 1, 1, and 1. There we go. That looks like our main deck here. This is gonna be like a Fiend Turbo kind of thing when it comes to Plunder cards. And then for our extra deck, we can play stuff like Luce, or whatever it's called, which is the in-theme fusion monster for Yugioh and Mutiny in the Sky. So let's just sort by Fiend fusions right now and see what happens. There's only 4 pages of these guys. There's Aerial Eater, which can dump a Golden Hair. That's not going to be a whole lot of value. I'm just going to click them in. We can remove them later and then put in our level 8 synchros. But let's see. We definitely want to find that Luce, or whatever, however you pronounce that, because that is a good card. It's a big old body. We can play Fiendsmith cards, right? Yeah. Fiendsmith with no Requiem feels real bad. Let's see, where is this guy? Here, Luce the Dusk's Dark. So this one, 3 fiends in your graveyard. Monsters in your left and rightmost can be destroyed. Pretty sweet. And then it's like 3,500 attack, which is ridiculous. And then it says, let's see, you can target one card your opponent controls, send one feeder fairy from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, destroy that card. And then if another card is destroyed, you can just destroy another card. That's pretty sick. Let's see, Magnum the Reliever, you can't make this with Luce because it requires a monster in the hand. Let's see, Necroquip, no. Yeah, but the other benefit is, yeah, I forgot to mention, you can just hard make the list, so you can add more plunder names on top of your stuff. Duke of Demise is pretty good as well. It's good for recycling and all that kind of thing. So I don't think Aerial Leader is going to be much value, so we're going to remove that. I think we're just going to play Duke of Demise and Luce, and then we have Liss as well for our package. I really wish I could play more Mutiny in the Sky here. And then I'm also not using any of my points, so there's definitely room for improvement here. I wonder how, like, are there good Fiend monsters that cost points that, like, you normally wouldn't get to play? Maybe we also play a Griffin Rider in this situation since we can afford it. Let's see. This is, I feel like it's just too many plunder cards. Maybe we're gonna cut down on Emblem to 2 here. We still want to keep most of our names though. Let's see. 3 Radiant, that's pretty good. And we're only at 25 points. I really hate to put all my points in the side deck because you're gonna be playing most of your games main deck. Let's see. I mean, you're gonna play every game with like the cards you start with potentially. So I do want to play valuable cards. So maybe I play stuff like Nibiru. Nibiru is kind of nice because it gives my opponent a light attribute. So that would be kind of clutch to play somehow, but I don't know really what we can cut or how much Plunder Engine we need. Maybe we have to cut down somewhere on like Golden Hair. I wouldn't mind that, and then play like a couple Nibs, and then we can also play a Dragite in the extra now that we can afford it, and then we can also play stuff like the Star Eater was kind of nice, to be honest, or it had decent potential here, but we also have level 10 Synchro Access with Duke of Demise now, so maybe there's a play there, or we can even have level 12 Synchro Access if we make Liss plus a tuner, or Brand plus a tuner. I haven't even looked at the level 12. We could play like Legacia. Like, what do we have for level 12 synchros? How much is this card is pretty good. Maybe Legacia is playable. Yeah, and then in the side we can play good cards like Droll and stuff like that. Droll's 5 points. We can play still Cosmics. We can play the 3rd Nibiru. We can play Ash. Ash is 15. It's not that great. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, Emblem is not getting a whole lot of value here, only for Dark attribute, which is fine. I guess there's some lights here too. Now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, well, I guess Emblem you can go off your own list if you hard make one as well, so that's valuable. But it'd be nice to have some fire cards, even like Rescue Ace, Impulse, and stuff. Maybe like Impulse Fire Attacker, just for more draw power here. We can think about this. But yeah, I think this is going to be our second build here, and then we can fill out this extra deck with what do we have in the other build here? We had Draco Berserker, the Tenyi, and White Aura Whale. Yeah, I like those cards. So Draco Berserker, oops, and then White Aura Whale. Beautiful. Okay, so our decks are going to look something like this. So we have one build that's a little bit more aggro. We have this Buio package, and we can rely on this Luce, which is kind of nice. We can play, we have like free points available. So if you don't want to play Nib, or we basically have whatever points you want. We're going to cost 25 for the adventure package, and then 75 points are yours to choose, like hand traps or breakers. We could even play droplets maybe. Like, how much is Droplet? Oh, we should play this, maybe. How about what if we play Droplet? Okay, But yeah, we have options, essentially, is what I'm saying. And then for the other build, which is a little bit more like synergistic, I would say, and has more of a strategy, is this one where you play adventure plus kaiju. Like, it's just classic plunder pairings. And you have a strategy. We're going second. We're just gonna see how well we can break boards. I think I would play this version. I do like having like a strategy in mind and kind of having a more solid deck structure, and I think this is gonna get us there pretty well. So yeah, I think I would prefer this build, but if you guys like the other build and like the point flexibility, if you want more point flexibility, this one is all for you to choose. Pick and choose what you want to do with your points. All right. If you're still with me, thanks for watching. I'm excited to play Genesis format. I'm not going to probably play Plunder if I'm trying to be competitive in Genesis format, because I don't think that, like, the loss of Blackbeard and Jord is just too much a little bit. But I don't know. Maybe it's fun. Five board wipes plus whole adventure package. Kind of cool. So maybe we'll try it out. Maybe I'm not giving it enough of a chance. But yeah, this is going to be my build for Plunder. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment below about two things. First of all, what do you think of Plunder in Genesis format? And number two, what deck are you playing in Genesis format or want to see me kind of work on for Genesis points? Because I do want to get into more Genesis content. I just got back from Japan on a trip for 2 weeks. And before that, I was working on a video for my other channel. Check that out in my description. Like, there's a link to my other channel if you're interested. But yeah, that's why I haven't been posting on here very much, but I want to get back into it, and I have YCS Pittsburgh coming up in less than a month now, so I need to test for that, both Advanced and Genesis for when I scrub out of Advanced. So we're going to be playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh coming up. So yeah, let me know what you want to see on the channel. Leave a like, subscribe if you're not already. If you're still here and not subscribed, you know, thanks for watching all the way through, but like, you gotta like the content at least a little bit to be all the way 30 minutes in. So yeah, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And with that, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Deuces.